Welcome, everyone, to Guaco Taco and the Lion Nation podcast, the second of this 2023 season. Let's get a round of applause for Guaco Taco, fellas. Let's hear it. Besides Guaco Taco hosting tonight's podcast, we also have other sponsors for Leander Lion Football Booster Club. Coach McLean right in front of the camera, Coach. Coach McLean, you're right in front of the camera, buddy. Thank you. So the gold level sponsors include Mercy Veterinary Hospital, online at mercy-vet.com, or you can call them at 512-890-2000. The other gold sponsor, Rush Automotive, online at myrushauto.com/Leander. The phone number to call them and schedule an appointment for your vehicle repair, 512-548-6134. The silver sponsors include Leander Athletic Club, online at leanderathletic.club.com, or you can call them at 512-876-1855. Lot Governmental Affairs, they don't have direct contact information, but you can find Lot Governmental Affairs LLC online on LinkedIn and Facebook. Just search Lot Governmental Affairs or LGA, and they will assist you in your compliance needs, especially those related to the environment. Also on the silver level, RDZ Roofing, online at rdzroofing.com, or you can call them at 512-316-1195. This is a sponsor I am in need of calling. And we have numerous bronze, Lions Pride, and other food sponsors. We'll try to get them at the end of the podcast, Coach. But let's go on ahead and get started here. We're out here at Guaco Taco. It's a nice evening.
Yes,
the season has had a little bit of ups and downs.
Sure.
A lot of positives to draw from the first three games of the season, but ultimately we're looking at two non-district losses by a total of 2 points. So give us your thoughts on that first, and then talk to us about the team's mood going into week one of district.
Yeah, absolutely. First, thank you guys again for coming out and doing this. It's always fun to be with you guys, and thanks to Guaco Taco for hosting us. It's tough to have two losses by 2 points, obviously. When we talk about the positives, I think that offensively, we've seen and done some things here in the last couple of weeks that haven't happened for a while. We've scored a ton of points. I think there was a stat out there. This is the most points through 3 games that there's been in several years.
In my memory.
Yeah, so obviously we're being pretty explosive on offense, and we have some young guys that are going up really fast on the defensive side. So we have seen improvement with our defensive group, just with some of the sophomores that we're playing there. So there's a lot of positive things to go and look at as we finished out the non-district. We had an opportunity to go and win the game on a 2-point play,
right?
Which
I applaud that decision, by the way.
Well, you probably don't make the same decision if it's a district game where it's a little bit different. But in a non-district game, you got to see if your 2-point plays are good, if the things you got to tweak. There's so much you're trying to figure out in non-district. It's not just about personnel. It's also about situational football, things that you want to practice before it matters in a district game.
Well, and if you go into overtime, you're also risking additional injury to some of your key players.
Sure.
Just by trying to get a non-district win. That's one of the reasons I really liked that decision.
Sure.
And we were about 8 inches away from getting it, and there were even pictures that looked like he may have crossed the line before that knee was down.
Don't show me those pictures.
Well, I didn't see one, but I heard, and my blue and red colored glasses tend to see things in a little bit different way, especially from way up in the press box.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about your offense a little bit. You mentioned that it's the most points in 3 games in numerous years. You have lots of weapons, and we talked about it in the first podcast. You were pretty confident in your running back room. You got a pretty good experienced quarterback, and you got some receivers, and you even had played an H-back or a tight end that came back off of injury. Talk about your offensive weapons.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you hit on all of them. You know, our running back room is, you know, really, really deep. We have a lot of guys that can get in the backfield and be explosive and make some big plays. We've been, you know, lucky. You're always lucky to find a sophomore that's really talented. So Braden Lott is kind of our sophomore that started back there, but we're able to move E.J. Hargraves back in the backfield and Zane Woolridge back in the backfield. Those two guys typically line up at receiver, so they're very flexible in what they can do. We have guys, very talented guys on the outside with Joseph Morrow, Aiden Parker, River Hum, and you can just go down the list of a lot of guys that not only are good in their position but can find another position offensively to help us in different places. So, you know, it all starts with our offensive line. I think that's where we've been the most efficient at. Honestly, the protection has been really good all year long. You know, Logan hasn't had to move around a lot to get balls off. He's had plenty of time. And then when you talk about the running backs, it really does start with those guys. So, you know, that starts with our leadership with Ryan Casimir, our center. And so just across the board, there's a lot of pieces on the offensive side that we're excited about. And, you know, when you have so many weapons, you're kind of worried about you know, being selfish, like everybody wanting to touch the ball, but they've been awesome about that too. Like they understand that the more we can spread it out, the more effective everybody's going to be.
Well, and you mentioned your offensive line. We've seen some very sizable defensive fronts so far in the first few games, and they've held up well. You know, you're not sitting there with bookend 6'8" tackles on your offensive line, but we've seen some good guys, and they've really blocked well as a unit, and that's really key with the offense.
Yeah, we faced Bastrop a couple of weeks ago, and they have a kid that's been offered by Georgia, and that was a challenge that I think they talked about for the offensive line going into that week a lot. Is just that one kid, and we managed him very well, and so they're doing great as a unit, and that's helping the entire offense be productive and efficient.
Well, one of the Bastrop coaches is a former Southwestern University Pirate.
Yeah.
And so I know him, and I saw him the Saturday after that game, and he had made a lot of excuses for that Georgia commit because he understood how well our offense handled him.
Sure, yeah. No, it really was impressive to go back and watch, and so our offense has seen a lot of different looks this year, and just they haven't really been rattled, on the offensive line, which is really good. Yeah.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about the defense. We've talked a little bit about the young secondary, but they've played well. Your linebackers pretty well, and that defensive front's getting good pressure.
Yeah, we're pretty deep on the defensive line, which is not something we've been necessarily able to say in years past. We've always had quality kids, but this year we have a lot of kids that are quality, and they can all get in and mix it up and be really effective on the D-line, which has made it better for our inside linebackers. And, our secondary, they're coming along a lot. We had a couple of injuries that we've kind of had to shift some guys around, and so we have a couple of guys defensively that have had to learn multiple positions, and they've taken that in stride and just worked really, really hard at it. Like I feel good about where we are and the progress that we made over the course of 3 games, and so we're excited about just the team from top to bottom. Well, and they're all young. They're all young. Like we got a lot of kids that are going to come back even next year. And
what you're describing is solid commitment, that they're committed to the team, not self.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And that to me is indicative of where the program is headed and moving away from where it has been.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's the leadership of the kids. I mean, we as a coaching staff, like we have been preaching the same thing. This group has just done a really good job of embracing everything, and it's about them. They're doing a great job.
So this past week, you had a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
How's the health of the team? And what do you do in a bye week?
Sure, yeah, we're actually very healthy, knock on all the wood on earth, which is good. And so, that is the primary concern during the bye week. If you dealt with injuries, things that you can recover from, you're looking at ways to use the bye week to help those kids out. So Monday, we typically take Monday and take a long look at the previous game, and if there are things that we can even go back, a game before and touch up, we will. So that's kind of a teaching day to talk about what we're going to do for the next 3 days. So Monday we're really just kind of film and lift and teach, and then Tuesday we come in and really kick off a practice, and we call it just cleanup practice. We're cleaning up the things that kind of didn't go so well for us, and we're kind of fixing those things. Then Wednesday, as much as we probably wouldn't tell the kids, by that time we've looked at the next opponent, and so we're kind of prepping on what we're going to do, and that's kind of what Wednesday and Thursday are about. Or we're not telling y'all that we're prepping for something, but we're really looking at the next week's opponent. And then Friday we had a big special teams day where we got a chance to do a special teams check for our varsity kids as well as our sub-varsity kids. We got to do some competition between them. It was without pads, but got to line up and give guys an opportunity to work against one another in special team setting. So you just, the big thing is try to hit everything one more time before you get back into the structured routine of a game week practice.
Well, and speaking of special teams, that's the only unit we haven't really talked about after the 3 non-district games. And the special teams has done very well, and it's highlighted by Ivan the Leg Rodriguez. That's what I call him. Hasn't missed an opportunity so far this season. There was one that was blocked, but he can't block the defensive front and kick the extra point.
Yeah, no, he's clearly very talented. He's been kicking for us for a while. Hey, Coach King, can we keep that camera clear?
Well, we've actually got 2,
so
we're good.
I'm
right
just trying to make sure that everybody can see you, Mr. Crazy.
Yeah, I was just watching. He's just trying to get on camera.
No,
Coach King's
it's all about you. No, Ivan's done an amazing job the entire time he's been kicking for us. He's got a lot of experience, and it's been different phases for our special teams. We returned a punt.
Return games, just impressive.
It's been really amazing. It's really hard to return a punt in high school football because you don't face really good punters always, and they're always trying to kick it away. So to actually return a punt is really impressive. So we got one of those. We've had great returns. We have a freshman kid that's, back probably doing one of the harder things, and that's returning kickoffs, and he's done a great job.
Yeah,
so,
great returns.
Yes. So, we're excited about the special teams.
And we've seen him on offense a little bit at that receiver position as well.
Yeah.
So, and the coverage game has been pretty good. Now it's also pretty nice when you have somebody that kicks it into the end zone almost every single kickoff.
We are blessed to have Ivan. I'll say that. Yeah.
So I wasn't there last game. Were all of them in the end zone again?
Yeah.
What are you going to do when it's short, Coach? Are the kids going to freak out? Hey, we actually have to go downfield, stay in our lanes?
Coach McClain stays on them quite a bit about not falling asleep. And at some point, we're going to play that game that has a stiff wind, so you better be ready.
Well, and as good as Ivan can be, at some point that foot's not going to hit dead center on that football, and it's going to tail off one side or another, or be up, kick it a little low on the ball, and it's up in the air, and not as deep. So. Well, Coach, do we have another coach coming in?
We do. We have a couple of offensive guys. We have Coach King and Coach Hall, whichever one of these gentlemen would like to be first.
Yeah, because they want to eat, and I know that's
King's
something you want to go do as well. So.
Coach King's the closest. Coach King, you ready? Yeah, there you go. All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
right,
thanks, Coach. Good luck on Friday.
Coach Bryce, Hey, guys, how we doing?
Hey, Coach.
Great.
Coach, we've known each other for quite a few years. You've been around a while.
A little bit, yes, sir.
You had ties to Leander even before your employ with LISD. Tell people who don't know.
Sure. So I'm the second Coach King to come through. The real Coach King was the head baseball coach.
A little bit closer.
Gotcha. He was the head baseball coach at Leander High School from 2002 until I believe 2008. He then finished his career at opening up Wiley Middle School. As their coordinator there, but he was. I didn't know much about Leander until he came down here. But after visiting him a few times, I decided this was a really nice place to be, and wanted to come down here and further my career with Leander High School and Running Bushy Middle School. And And on the real Coach King, just wanted to put this out there too. He actually was elected as a member of the Texas High School Baseball Coach Association Hall of Fame last year, so that's pretty cool.
Well, tell him I said congratulations.
Well,
that is a high honor.
It is. It's a pretty exclusive group, so pretty happy for him.
So we've interviewed you before in the past, but this is a whole new set of kids, whole new set of parents. Some of them may know. But tell us about your high school experience.
Sure.
Where did you go? What sports did you play? Sure. Were you in Calculus 4, things like that?
Definitely not any calculus classes on my schedule, no. So I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I grew up in Arlington. Went to Arlington Martin High School. At Martin, I played little varsity football, varsity baseball. I was an O-lineman. If you can't tell by the look. Also pitched on the baseball team. Played a little JV basketball. Wasn't quite tall enough to make the to be a varsity player. Gave that up when I was a sophomore. But like I said, enjoyed my time up there, and played for some really good coaches, including my uncle, who was the head baseball coach up there at the time. And then after high school, I decided to go be a student at Texas Tech. Go Raiders, wreck 'em. And we decided we were going to, after there I got a degree in history and political science, and after that I, kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. Was going to go to law school. Took a job as a substitute teacher, and I liked it so much that it's been, about 15 years now, and I'm still doing it. So I think
let me just say this: despite Mark being here, there's enough lawyers in this world.
I would agree with you on that. I mean, you got to enjoy what you do. I enjoy what I'm doing.
Right.
I don't think I could be some other type of attorney out there or a lawyer, but I enjoy what I'm doing. Just like, some people are meant to teach, some people are meant to coach. Right. You do both, and that's a great thing to deal with the kids. So you deal with them day in, day out.
Yes, sir.
And I know Chuck and I are a little bit older. We say, these kids have changed. Now, you've been around them for a long time. Have they really changed, or is it just us getting older and getting crabbier?
I mean, the world's a different place, different place than it was a while back, right? A lot of things have changed, but, for the most part, kids are kids. They're going to, especially kids around here are going to be polite. They're going to work hard, and, they're going to kind of do what you ask them to do, and they're going to, do their best at it. And so, I don't know if necessarily I would say kids are changed. Maybe I think the world's just changed around us, and the world they're growing up in is a little different from the one we grew up in. I think that's
I think correct answer. That is a really astute observation, because if you think about it, Coach, I mean, you're younger than Mark and I, but Mark and I, when we said goodbye to someone, whether we had conversed with them publicly or by telephone, we didn't know what they were going to do, where they are. You couldn't track them. You couldn't see, where your friends are, whether or not you want to go to where they are. You had to trust them that they were going to call you back, or that you were going to go to the right party.
Absolutely. It's a very different world. There's a lot more options and a lot more things out there to do for these guys. So that we have really, really good kids here, and they handle their business really well for us. We're excited about all of them.
Well, and it's been one of those things. It's tough to keep teams focused. Give us your thoughts on the early part of the season. You're 1-2, but as we mentioned earlier, that's just by 2 points. You could easily be 3-0. Obviously, those games are non-district games.
Right.
But how is the team's mood? How do you keep the guys focused?
Yeah, obviously the results aren't exactly what we were hoping for, right? We'd sure like to get the couple points in our direction and be 3-0 right now like we were last year. But we were talking about it this week, and last year, both those games, both the Bastrop game and Del Rio game came down to the very end.
Yes.
And it worked out in our favor last year, and we just didn't get the breaks our way this year. And some of that stuff that we can clean up, some of it's a little bit luck, here and there. But, we're I think that those close losses hurt, but we've got pretty resilient kids. I'm looking at them over here. They're having a good time with each other. They're enjoying the company, enjoying the beautiful weather here, porch here, Guaco Taco, and
that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome out here. And so they're they're in a really good mood and a good place, and I think they understand. Yes, we'd like better results, but the real season starts this week, and hopefully, we can execute a little bit better and have a few more things go our way. We'll be just fine.
Well, talk a little bit about your group, the guys you coach the most.
Sure. Well, that's our guys, right, Chuck? The offensive linemen. The big guys. That's
the hog mollies.
Those are my people, and I'm really enjoying my time with them. I've worked with them as kind of the tight ends, assistant O-line coach for a few years, and now past couple of years I've been the primary O-line coach with Coach Britton, helped me out pretty closely, and he's doing a great job with them. But man, we couldn't ask for a better group of kids to work with. These are some of the most selfless kids on the team. They work really hard. They show up every day. We joke around with them a lot that our linemen, sometimes they get the reputation of just kind of being big, goober kind of guys. But man, we have linemen that are taking some of the most academic rigorous classes.
I've always said that linemen are the smartest. Of course, I played line, but that's not why I say that. But offensive linemen, especially that center position, they really have to know the schemes, and ultimately you could have an All-American D1 prospect on your offensive line and not be a very good unit,
right?
Because the key is the unit as a whole.
Sure.
So talk about that.
Sure. Yeah, and all these guys, they work. They travel as a pack, right? They work together very well. I'd like to be able to take all the credit for that, but really it's a credit to their personalities. A lot of our guys have played together for a long time and worked really hard together this off season. And we've got a kind of a diverse mix of kids from different classes. We've got a few seniors that are returning players like Jorge Ruiz, who we talk about Calculus 4. He's in 3 different physics classes right now. I don't even know.
That's impressive.
I had to have him explain to me what his class was because I didn't understand what they did in there. But some kind of, I don't know, aerodynamic physics. I don't even know. But so some really smart kids. We've got Zayna Revelo and JoJo Tafase that are doing a great job, and our returners from last year. I think kind of the unit starts though with our center Ryan Casimir, returning all-district player from last year as a sophomore. He's back as a junior this year.
Yeah, he's still kind of young.
He is. He's got another year with us. Thank goodness. I'm excited to see what he's going to look like next year. But man, he's really kind of taken the reins and become the kind of a leader in the group. And we got some sophomores that are making a contribution, right? Easton Brockman and Jacob Wells have been doing a lot of work out there at the tackle position, and we just got a lot of guys that have worked really well together. But honestly, whoever we put in, wherever we put them, they talk to each other, they figure it out, and they get the job done. That's kind of what being a lineman's about.
Well, and it's nice to have a senior-laden offensive line, but at the same time, every year those guys cycle out, those
right.
seniors, and so you got to have guys with experience coming in, or the next year you kind of shot yourself in the foot early.
Sure, and we've got, like I said, we got 3 seniors that are getting a lot of playing time, and then we got 3 guys that will be back next year that are getting the rest of that playing time, and we got some guys that are very capable of filling in when those guys need a break, and so I'm really happy with our unit. Our depth is better than I've seen it. Our numbers as a program as a whole are through the roof. We've almost doubled our numbers since Coach Price took over 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Just looking at the number of big guys out there, you see them. It's
sure.
not just a few, and we hope they get through the season without getting hurt. You just look at the sideline. You have guys that are there.
Well, we have guys, first of all. We just have people out there.
Bodies.
Great.
Yeah.
But we're fortunate to have some size. And, man, this sophomore class that's coming up, 2 of them, Jacob and Easton are playing with the varsity already. But we've got a bunch of JV guys that are very promising. So we're excited about our future at that position for sure.
Well, I know Coach told us we have another offensive coach, but I already forgot who he told me.
Well, we're going to bring in you got the good looking coach, but now we're going to bring in Coach Hall to come over.
Coach
here
Hall,
and take the
so
reins
he's the less good looking coach.
I guess he's the next. He'll be all right, I guess.
Okay, well we'll bring up Coach Hall then.
Thank you.
And I know your nachos are getting cold over there,
Coach.
Coach.
Take care of those. Hey, we appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank y'all.
I don't know. He's kind of got a Matthew McConaughey look about him. Coach Hall, how are you?
Good.
Chuck Crazy. This is
How are you? Good
Mark.
to see you.
Good to be back.
So wide receivers, huh?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit with Coach Price about that moments ago, and he had a lot of good things to say about your wide receivers. Before we get into those players, because I know wide receivers like to hear about themselves quite a bit, but let's talk a little bit about your history. How did you get into football? Where did you go to high school? Those kinds of things.
Started playing football in 5th grade. Kind of just showed up to practice, and coach was like, "Can anybody here throw?" And I was like, "I can." And threw it like 10 yards, and he's like, "All right, you're the quarterback." And so I started off as quarterback until 9th grade, and my best friend was also a quarterback for the other team, and he was a lot bigger and stronger and faster. So I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be the quarterback anymore." So I switched to wide receiver and just finally hit a growth spurt and played well senior year, and was lucky enough to get recruited to go play some college ball, and played at Whitworth University up there in Washington. And actually
Which one?
Whitworth University.
Whitworth?
And then got moved from outside to inside receiver.
Y'all play Lewis and Clark up there?
Yeah, Lewis and Clark, Pacific University.
We've got an
Plainfield.
ex-line dating his daughter that played there recently.
Okay,
so.
cool, yep. And then kind of played like a tight end that was split out in the slot, and learned a lot up there. Had great wide receiver coaches, so I'm really grateful for that, because I get to pass on that knowledge to a lot of these guys.
Well, and speaking of the West Coast, Texas gets its due when it comes to football. But the West Coast offense and the offenses that are played in high school and in college out there, pretty impressive. Talk about your experience in those offenses.
Yeah, so actually when I was getting hired at Leander, Coach Bailey and Coach Price were like, "What offenses are you familiar with?" And I was like, "Well, I played in the spread in high school, and then I played in the spread in college." And they're like, "Perfect, we run a spread." And I was like, "All right, let's go." And so that worked out well, because a lot of things we do with RPOs that I really liked up in college, up in the Northwest, we get to do down here. Because when I was coaching up in Washington, we kind of did like a modified wing T type thing, and like hardly ever threw the ball in the game. I was like, "This sucks."
That's what I ran in high school.
Yeah. Not fun when you're a receiver, but that's where I guess I probably like teaching blocking so much as well. Also playing that kind of tight end split out in college, I helped with the run game a lot, and just there's not really better feeling than when you pancake someone and you see that run take
We
off.
love receiver blocks on the broadcast. It's one of our favorite things.
AP's smiling right now. He loves it too. He loves it too.
So you mentioned RPO. For those that don't know, that's run pass option, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at a little bit of complication for really every position offensively in the unit, because the offensive line has to make sure that they don't run block too much downfield and it end up being a pass. Receivers have to make reads. Quarterbacks have to make reads. Talk a little bit about that, so on a level where most people don't really understand that.
Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility all the way across the board. Everyone has a certain job to do. It's not just like, oh, we're handing the ball off and that's it.
Like they used to call plays.
Yeah. Like everyone has something to do, and there's always another outlet to put that defense in a bind and to put one guy in such a spot where he can't make a right decision. Right? If we make the right read, he's always wrong, and that's the key there to really make it hard for them.
Well, and it's really important for those guys to be on the same page. We've seen it early in the season. A receiver won't see that the ball is being thrown to them. It'll hit them in the back side or in the back of the head or something like that. And that comes down to just not making the right read, correct?
Yeah. And some miscommunication. Again, that's why we like having these non-district games first, to get those things cleaned up. Maybe they didn't get the signal. Maybe they got it confused with another one of our RPOs. I mean, Coach Bailey is just absolute mastermind when it comes to plays, and so it's really fun to watch that come together.
Well, in week one, obviously, you don't have the whole playbook ready. Week two, you don't. Week three, even, you don't. Probably 1 or 2 weeks into district, you're still adding different aspects of the total playbook. How are the guys adapting to additional looks? One of the things I noticed this past week was the implementation of an H-back in the backfield, also on the line of scrimmage as a wing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff still in our bag that we've been practicing and we're ready to use, or stuff we still have we haven't even installed yet that we want to for certain weeks. But what's nice is the kids learn really quickly. All the athletes we just tell them once, hey, here's what you're doing. We show them in film. We show them in the meetings. This is what we're looking at, and this is why we're doing it. And I think once they kind of get that why we're doing it, like, look, this is how the defense is going to react to this. This is why this is going to be open. They buy into it, and they run it, and they learn it very quickly. It's pretty impressive, actually, how fast we can rep something and they got it done.
And that gives them more ownership out there. I know you talked about your offense, and I know Chuck and I, when we were playing back in the day, I played receiver on offense and some defense as well, but basically we were a veer team. We didn't throw much every now and then, so basically did the fab route backside. I mean, y'all know what that means. I can't say it on air, but that's what it basically was. But here you have the option, maybe it's a pass, maybe it's a run, so they're mentally cued in every play, or they should be cued in every play, where I may have an opportunity here, or I'm going to help someone else out, rather than, all right, I'm just going to draw this guy over here and just kind of fab around.
Yeah, exactly. And we emphasize that in practice, like no loafing around, or you'll get yanked out. And we have a lot of depth in our receiving core, and a lot of guys that are very talented who haven't even touched the field yet. So we're looking to get everyone in, and even the guys on JV are hungry and they're ready to go and they're looking for their opportunity. So just got to keep balling out.
And that helps also with, in the past, before this group was here, it was a big running team. They threw a little bit here and there, but a couple plays downfield. We knew when it was kind of coming, but it was basically a run. Now with throwing a whole lot more, it opens it up. I think the receivers are saying, hey, I got a shot here.
Yeah.
It's not just a running team and I'm just going to go down and do a fly route or an out route and queue up that, those two plays. It seems a lot more complex, which is great, not only for the offense but for the players.
Yeah. So trying to keep them in the best shape we can, because they run, even on run plays, they're running. And so we just keep emphasizing, keep working hard. They're going to get tired first. And, so far, it's worked pretty well for us. And we love adding that tempo in there to really watch that defense, tap out, ask for a sub. And our guys let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So talk about those receivers, your group of receivers. Not only are they returning kicks, but they're, like you said, they're running routes constantly. And a couple of them you have to loan to defense every once in a while. So give us an idea of that group. It's an area that, as Leander fans and broadcasters, we haven't seen a ton of depth in a long time, and it appears there's a lot of depth there now.
Absolutely. We got AP, Morrow, River, and Isaac on the outside, and those four rotate, and they're all deadly. And then we have our inside guys. We got Zane, EJ, Gus, Webby, and Steriker. They're all staring at me right now, making sure I say their names. And Harris. We'll steal from defense sometimes. We'll steal Harris.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Yeah. I mean, we see it, and it is a team sport, right? And you see it even more so even in higher levels of football. We're seeing it in college football. You see it in the NFL from time to time. You see guys that just have those skills to be able to switch from being a receiver to a defensive back, and it is a different position.
Absolutely.
The fundamentals are different.
Yeah, it's fun to see them both go, both ways. If defense needs a receiver to be able to play the ball, it's all about ball skills.
So, Coach, what do you teach at Leander High School?
I teach math.
Yeah,
so I take
fundamentals of math? Are you teaching algebra? What are we talking? Calculus?
I teach algebraic reasoning class, and then some math models. But I can teach some calculus if I need to.
So you got that right there. Well, that's because the receiver's got to be smart, right? You got to know if it's a run or a pass.
I have a math degree. All right, settle down, boys.
I think they're fans, Coach. Yeah. Well, we'll let you get back to your meal. I guess a player's going to come up next, Coach. make sure you put the mic pretty close to your mouth there. You don't have to swallow it.
How's it going?
So it sounds like you got a fan section out there. You're Aiden Parker?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you wear what number?
Number 14.
Number 14. Okay, so you're one of Coach Hall's guys?
Yep.
So are you good at math like he is, or?
I don't know if he's good at math, but I'm good at math.
Oh, you are. You don't know about him. He says he's got a math degree. I'm gonna have to say that he probably does all right. So talk a little bit about the season early on. This your second year on varsity?
This is my third year on varsity.
Third year on varsity. So you've had quite a bit of experience through the seasons. How has this team improved over your 3 years? Is it depth? Is it talent?
The young depth that we have on varsity is way better. Whenever I first was on varsity, most of the guys were all seniors that were starting. Now we have sophomores and juniors. We have a freshman kick returning, playing receiver. So we have depth in all ages.
And you're a senior now, right?
Yes, sir.
So as a senior, how do you look back at your mentoring of these younger guys? You know, you mentioned having a freshman in the squad and some sophomores. You know, do you look at that as a role as a senior that is important to you? And if so, how do you approach it?
I mean, you just gotta welcome them into the team. You can't just like go bully them like they do on like Netflix films. Like that's not how it goes. You gotta be nice to them. You have fun with them. You joke around. They feel part of the team, and they just play better with the team.
Now, one thing that we've noticed about the program, Mark and I, we talk about it a lot, is it really looks like it's turning a corner. You know, the Lions had a lot of down years. And you being on varsity for 3 years in a row, how drastically has this team improved in terms of the program, and not specifically necessarily production on the field, but numbers, attitude, work ethic, things like that?
I feel like now we have all the coaches that give us the best input, and we're always in the weight room working. People are after school working, off season. We did summer strength and conditioning. We're always there, and we're always at every football event or practice that we could be at.
Does it get competitive with you and the other receivers? You know, I'm the fastest, or, you know, I'm the guy that's going to win all the one-on-ones, you know?
Personally, it's really just the younger guys. The younger guys think that they could beat us out, us seniors, and we know that they really can't. But they try to.
You know what? They need to have that kind of attitude, right? Yeah. And you should encourage that. You know, bring it on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Take me down, right? So does the competition equate to when you're competing against the defensive backs when it's scrimmage time? You know, do y'all go ones versus ones?
We go one-on-ones. I'm always with Malachi Filan. He's a really good DB. I'm excited for him to be for the rest of the year, this season and next season, because he's a junior. He's going to have a great year. And it's just iron sharpening iron out there whenever we do one-on-ones or 7-on-7.
So do y'all argue with your quarterbacks and say, I'm open, you know, like the receivers you see in the NFL, me?
We try not to. I feel like as a team we really don't do that much.
As a team you don't do that. That's good. So talk a little bit about what your plans are going forward. You know, obviously you want to run the table in district and, you know, make postseason and make a deep run. But beyond that, what are you looking at? You know, you're a senior, you're going to graduate. Are you looking at colleges? Have you already been accepted to a college? Are you looking to continue your athletic career, or just going to focus on academics?
I've been looking at a couple of different colleges. I'll probably go in some type of business, but if there's an opportunity for me to play football, then yeah, I would.
So would you consider even like a Division III opportunity or Division II? Or
it depends on the program, really.
So a lot of it's going to depend on the academics at that school, obviously.
Yeah, because you definitely want to look at both. You don't want to give up an opportunity, but you don't want to put yourself in a position that you may not be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, Sul Ross State's a nice school, but it's in Alpine, Texas. Yeah. So, you know, it's way out there. You know, who wants to go play football out there?
So what'd you do over the summer? Anything fun?
I went on vacation to Aruba with my family, and also my sister visited from Rome for a couple weeks, so we just got to hang out with her around. And obviously I did summer conditioning too.
Nice.
Every time I hear that somebody went to Aruba, I start singing the Beach Boys in my head. So. Well, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you for having
me. Appreciate
go
it.
Enjoy
Thanks.
your meal, and I think we'll have one more player come out. Howdy.
How are you?
Put that mic pretty close to your mouth there, because we want to be able to hear you. Now, go on ahead. And now, everybody knows who you are here, but tell us who you are.
I'm Gavin Rodriguez, number 77 on the D-line. I play mostly nose. That's really about it. I play a little bit of O-line then and there, but, I like to play D-line.
Move that mic just a smidge closer there. It's all right. So, D-line, you play nose. That's probably one of the least glamorous positions in all of football, but really one of the most important, especially when it comes to stopping the run game. And we've got a team coming up this week that they like to run the football. Talk a little bit about what it's like down there in the trenches. Nose tackles, they rarely get blocked by one guy.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it, man. It's I always got people, trying to double team me or triple team me, even cut high, low. They'll do all that stuff. But being in there, honestly, it feels great because I feel like I'm always I feel like everybody wants to block me, and that makes me feel good about myself. They're all either trying to avoid me or just trying to kill me. And honestly, it's a great feeling to just, fight a lot of people at once. It's always something I just like doing.
So tell us, how much trash talking is going on out there that we don't see? I mean, tell the parents out there, what's it like out there on the field?
For linemen, honestly, we are kind of friendly. We don't really talk too much, but when it does get competitive, let's say Glenn can get a little bit chippy.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't really say much just because I'm not trying to screw myself
no unnecessary
over.
motivation of your opponent.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. Whenever you play an LISD team, especially being the namesake of the district, they're going to always talk trash to Leander.
Yeah. It's it's real competitive. Our district, man. It's always been a real fun thing to always go against really top class people, And of course they're always going to get real chippy, but it's at the end of the day we're all human. I like to have fun. I just like to play, So yeah.
Well, and that's also a part of the sport. It's a mutual respect. You may not like the guy across from you, but you can respect it when he's able to block you or gets the better of you, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So you say you play nose. You spend a little time on the offensive line occasionally. Which one do you like better?
I like nose way better.
I always like defense better. One of the good things about offensive line is you do get to hit people, but that's the key with defense is creating havoc, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. So do you ever get any just free shots through the line of scrimmage? That rarely happens.
Yeah, it really happens for me because they know that if I just shoot right through, they're just gonna bounce it out as soon as they see me because I'm more of a bigger guy. I cover a gap as fast as I can, and oh shoot, the running back sees me or the quarterback sees me, they just have to run away.
Well, and you're not going to chase down too many of the running backs in our district from behind, right? You got to catch them while they're coming at you.
Yes, sir.
I'm slow too, so I'm not saying you're slow, but I know I played a little D-line too. It's hard to run those backs down from behind. So, talk a little bit about your current school experience. What are your favorite classes? Do you have a teacher that you'd like to shout out?
So as a senior, a lot of people have always told me that being a senior is the easiest part.
It depends on your scheduling.
It really does, yeah. I'm kind of struggling. I'm taking both of my position coaches' classes this year. which is Coach Flores and Coach Beef. It's just got to be a role
Well, neither
model.
one of those guys are going to let you off the hook for any reason.
Yeah, I just got to be, I've always been good at keeping up with my classes, but I think it's just math. That's really about it. Math
Math is annoying.
Yeah,
I get it. I understand it, but I don't like it. And there's a reason calculators were invented, and it's because of guys like you and me.
Yeah.
So, are you planning on pursuing your education beyond high school? You're going to go into the workforce? You plan on being an athlete beyond high school? What are your plans?
So my biggest plan right now is to go play some college football at D3 or even JUCO or anything above that. I've been to a lot of camps to hopefully get my name out there, and hopefully I can get an education to become a teacher and a coach, just like these guys are doing.
Well, and that's really an honorable pursuit, and in my opinion, if you love the sport of football, even if you don't go into teaching and coaching, you'll find a way to participate. Either you'll coach your kids and youth football, or you'll do like Mark and I and annoy the coaching staff until they let you do broadcasts. So, and that's what we'll, I always encourage that of kids I talk to, because it's something that you don't realize. You're a senior. AP, he's a senior. There's only 7 more regular season games. That's 7 weeks, and then if you make the postseason, you can extend that. But that goes by really fast, and you're going to look up, and football is going to be over, and unless you get an opportunity to play collegiate ball somewhere, you're going to be just a fan at that point. So
Yeah.
You gotta make the most of the time now is the point, right?
Yeah. I cherish every single moment I have with any of my friends and even with my coaches, having as much fun as I can before it all goes away, because I know how fast it can all go away. So yeah, I'm just having fun at this point, man. I do want to take this to the next level, of course, like playing football at the collegiate level. But at the same time, I just got to be thankful and grateful for everything I have.
Oh, that's right. You should always be grateful and thankful. So what camps have you gone to? You mentioned you've gone to some camps.
So I've been to 5 so far. The biggest ones I've been to was National Junior Day up in Dallas. It was at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a cool stadium.
Yeah, and I went to the Louisiana Line Camp. It's a very, very big camp hosted in Louisiana. Thanks to Coach Beef and Lil Beef. They helped me get out there, and it was a 3-day camp, 3 practices per day. It was real tiring, but it was worth it all.
So you get to talk to some collegiate coaches, and have they stayed in contact with you?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of contact. I've only had a couple coaches like email me, text me, whatever, call me. They said they wish for me to have a good season.
They're keeping an eye on you then.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not going to ask you to tell me who on the air, but I might ask you after. But thank you very much for coming out. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Yep. Good luck Friday.
We want everyone to give a big round of applause to Coach Price, Coach Hall, Coach King, and AP and Jorge for interviewing, and also give a big round of applause to Guaco Taco for hosting us tonight. Our sponsors, Mercy Veterinary Hospital, Rush Automotive, Leander Athletic Club, Lot Governmental Affairs, RDZ Roofing, Austin Telco, Federal Credit Union, Golden Chick, Blue Bottom Pools, Black Rock Coffee Bar, McDonald's of Leander, Modern Shade, Frontier Bank of Texas, Toyota of Cedar Park, State Farm Insurance with Shannon Johnson, Jamba and Auntie Anne's, Whitestone Jewelry, Texas Pools and Patios, the Grissom Insurance Group, State Farm Insurance with JT Reisdorf, Mosaic Dentistry. We want to also thank all the food sponsors who will sponsor dinners and events, and, of course, Family House Fellowship. Thank everyone for coming out tonight and joining us for the second season episode of the Lion Nation podcast. Lions take on the College Station Cougars on Friday, so make sure you come out. If not, tune into the broadcast. And everybody, go Lions! Good night.